it's a very con artist kind of vibe to me. Not saying the person is literally a con artist. It's just that's the vibration that they're operating in. Like they're very two-faced. Hello, beautiful human. Welcome to the Aquarius Bae Cross Watchers Only reading. I am Princess India. If you're new and if you're family, welcome back, my friend. And what's not, or whatever I'm saying. So anywho, if you're not familiar with what this reading is, the intention of it is to allow a person who is attempting to cross-watch or lurk on their Aquarius Bae to give them insight into their situation and what is going on with them. But I have heard through the grapevine being my wonderful comments here on YouTube. Check them out. They're usually very funny. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people who are of the sign that I'm reading for can resonate. So it typically ends up being all flippy floppy. You know what I'm saying? So get in where you fit in. You know what I'm saying? So anywho, we're going to go ahead and jump into these cards and see what is going on with you and your Aquarius Bae for October 15th through November 15th. So let's see, first card out. I just realized that my keyboard is right there. This is real life right now. First card out, we have the 5 of Wands in the reverse. That is my Petty LaBelle card, little petty wop, little petty crocker, you know, whatever you want to call it. Next card, we have the 2 of Pentacles in the reverse. And then we have the 8 of Pentacles in the reverse. This is interesting. So cross-watcher, what it's looking like for you guys, and this is interesting. Okay. The vibe that I get with this is inner fighting, right? But it's, I mean, literally you're inner fighting with yourself. However, what you're fighting about is your Aquarius person. So it's kind of one of those situations where, you know, if you have a disagreement with someone or someone does something that you don't particularly care for, and you end up like not saying what it is that you wanted to say, but it's like 3 hours later, you're at home and you're in the shower and you're like, I don't know who they was talking to because I know they wasn't talking to me. And I should have said this and da da da. And then like you go to bed that night and you're just like, yeah, I could have told them this, and this. Like your mama ain't nobody. Right? So it's an inner fighting. So a lot of the things that you would want to say or would like to say, but are hindered in some way from saying, and what I mean by hindered would be that there's more or less a fear for you to really speak your truth with your Aquarius person, because there's this thought of, and there may be a history of this, a long history of this, of not wanting to rock the boat. But at present, with us having the 2 of Pentacles in reverse, I feel that this indecisiveness, this infighting that you guys have had, like kind of smoldering for some time, is starting to manifest into your physical life, in the sense that it's throwing you kind of off kilter, if you will. So it's not really being sure or being confident in yourself is really what I want to say, because, and this is interesting because looking at these 2 cards, this speaks to something I speak about a lot, often more in soul sessions than in cross-watcher only readings. There are choices that we make in our life, just in different experiences. And we end up internalizing certain things, and it becomes like a poison or a proverbial bacteria, if you will, like a poisonous emotional bacteria. So with you not speaking your truth, right, it inadvertently ends up creating unrest in yourself. And because you're constantly existing in a state of unrest, it kind of insidiously like picks you apart on the inside. And the next thing you know, everything in your life is off kilter. So what that would look like to me, and I'm hearing the throat chakra. So not necessarily, I mean, there could potentially be, it depends on how much you know about chakras. If you don't know much about it, then you're fine. But this would typically mean like your throat chakra is underactive. In other words, I don't really like to use the terminology blocked with chakras. it's underactive, which means that you're not speaking your truth. So it ends up becoming like a proverbial cancer in the sense with this person. If you aren't standing in your power and speaking your truth with them, right? Because you don't want to rock the boat, you're going to inadvertently start to have that manifest in different domains of your life. So it could show up in with your friends, it could show up with your family, it'll start to show up in your job. You know what I mean? It could show up in your financial realm in the sense of, you know, you go buy a car and they're asking you well over what it's really worth, but you're not going to speak up for yourself and say like, you know, the blue book value is this type of deal. So the reason why I feel like you guys now are in a sense of like stuckness or not really knowing how to move forward is because I feel wherever it is that you guys are at present, it's requiring for you to have confidence in yourself and stand up for yourself and speak for yourself. And again, this is a similar vibration that happened with, who is that? Sagittarius, I think it was Sagittarius. I don't think it was Capricorn. But you do have similar cards that Capricorn had if you have that in your chart. But it's a similar vibe to how it was with the Sagittarius cross watcher only reading, is because it's like a whole personal message came out for the cross watcher. So even though I'm picking up on elements of you and this person, I think that what you would probably resonate more with, that would kind of trigger you to see the connection between this and this connection with this person, is how this is starting to affect your money, or it's starting to affect your personal life. And another thing I have to say too, whoo child, for one of you guys, well, I just said one, Freudian slip, let's just go with it. It might just literally be one of y'all. It feels like financial abuse to me. So it's almost like being somebody's sponsor, not literally, but figuratively, look it up in the Urban Dictionary, but almost like being someone's sponsor. So it's almost like your dreams and your goals or what it is that you are working towards is kind of being stifled and disempowered because of this person, in so many words. I'm gonna get out of that. Next card we have is the Three of Swords. Ooh, child. Then we have the Seven of Cups in the reverse, and then we have the Four of Swords. Okay. All right. So with you guys' person of interest, I would go as far as to say that 9 times out of 10, dude, I don't know if you guys aren't speaking anymore, but it kind of looks like it to me. But at the same time, I'm a little bit concerned because I'm a little bit concerned just because the Seven of Cups in the reverse and this Four of Swords to me says that they're clear on what it is that they're doing. You know, it's almost like the vibe I get with this is being left jilted, if you will. It's more or less them knowing in a sense that, dude, and I would hate to say it because it's like the first thing that comes to me as I'm thinking about, like how I said the whole thing about the money. Like this is looking like somebody who would like take the money and run. You know what I mean? And I don't know, like if this person stole money from you and then just like disappeared, and them being aware, and that would like, it's like the vibe I would get from this. I want to pull from this past. I really got to be nosy now. Oh, child. Oh, Lord. Okay. We have the Eight of Cups in the reverse and the Temperance in the reverse. And of course, Temperance. Oh my God, Temperance is Sagittarius energy. I know you lying to me. I don't know if this person has Sag in their chart or if you do, but it's like cross watcher, what is looking like for me. And again, I have to tell you guys, flip it around if it doesn't, if I'm talking about the other person as you or whatever. But what with the Eight of Cups in the reverse being here, and this is me kind of pulling going back to September, like early October and late September, it's like you guys made a choice to not let the situation go, but it more or less looks to me, it's two different ways. This would be a mindset of someone who says that, I've invested so much in this, or I really love them, or I really believe in them, or I'm not just going to give up on them, whatever the case may be. But in reality, it's like you just kind of didn't want to deal with the heartbreak part of this. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't want to be single. You didn't want to have to go out and date again. You didn't want to have to go meet someone else. But at the same time, it's like this feels like a progression to me, to where if I were to look at it elemental wise, right? It's almost like this person robbed you in a mental sense of like your dignity. Then it's like they rob you emotionally to where you're drained. And then they robbed you of your energy. And then it progresses into them robbing you financially. And that's whether it's literally or figuratively, meaning in the sense because you're spiritually, emotionally, and mentally depleted, right? And so much in conflict with yourself that you're not able to focus on work, or you lost your job, or something along those lines. But with this Temperance in the reverse being here, that speaks to two things. There's a lack of a like balanced reciprocity in this partnership, as well as we're talking about emotional instability on the side of this person. But it's like at the same time, I couldn't even give them the benefit of the doubt of saying, oh, maybe they have like a mental illness or something like that they just have no control over. Nah, because with this Three of Swords, this Temperance reverse, this Three of Swords, this Seven of Cups in the reverse, and this Four of Swords, this lets me know that this person was aware of what it is that they were doing. You know what I'm saying? Like they were very clear of what it is that's happening here, or very clear of what it is that they were doing or attempting to do. So it sounds a lot to me like a person being taken advantage of. And of course, we have the World at the bottom of the deck, and that's Saturn energy. So this really does go back to September, because Saturn went direct on the 29th of September. So it's like the vibe I get with this dude, this person, like, and I don't have the Seven of Swords here yet, but it's like the vibes I get from this person, dude, is very con artist like. It's like this person had an ulterior motive, and it's almost as if they played on your emotions. You know what I mean? So it sounds like one of those situations that you like hear about where, and not saying this actually happened for you guys, but it's like, those stories you hear about, like, I don't know, like Dateline or something like that, where like a chick falls in love with somebody on the internet, and they're like extorting money from her and stuff like that. Not saying that that's your literal situation, but that's the vibe that I get. It's like, I feel this person sold you a dream. And I think like with this Eight of Cups here, on some level or another, cross watcher, it's more or less that you knew you should have walked away from this. You know what I mean? And for whatever reason, like I feel in the past, 9 times out of 10 when Saturn went direct, because there was buku just implosions in people's partnerships at that time. But it's like, I think it became pretty clear to you that you needed to, but it was like a refusal to. And now it's kind of like picking up the pieces from this, you know? This makes me so sad. We have the Two of Swords. We have the Star in the reverse, that's Aquarius energy, and the Three of Cups. So here's the deal. what is looking like for me, cross watcher, of this Aquarius person? Probably every single cross watcher's only reading that I have done up to this point has literally had, I don't really see so much of this mirroring effect with you guys as much as I have with other signs, but this does look very karmic-y to me. I feel that there was a grand spiritual lesson that one was intended to learn. And the way that it's looking for me, because we're covering until the 15th of November. So going into the middle of November with this 8 of Pentacles and this 4 of Swords and this 3 of Cups here, is more or less saying to me, for you, cross watcher, that going forward, yes, a lot of work is going to have to be done to kind of rebuild after this. And whether that is, you know, financially rebuilding, if it's emotional rebuilding, spiritually rebuilding, whatever the case may be, because I feel it's just this sense of feeling jilted here. You know what I mean? But I feel like at least maybe, I mean, you may know this now. There may be a level of clarity that has come to you guys now, but I feel that the biggest takeaway in all of this, and I'm thinking about one of the people who had commented in my comments, it's very relevant to what I'm saying to you guys right now. She said, why does it look so painful when she's giving messages? And it's because it is. It's very painful for me because I hate to see a lot of the things I see in these cards. It breaks my heart. And I hate to even think that people are going through this. And it makes me very sad. And I'm trying to find the best words to say this without it sounding so harsh, because my attention keeps getting brought back to the star and the reverse. And that's more or less like being soul broken and losing hope. But I would have to encourage you guys to not lose hope, because it's like with this person, I don't know, dude, it's a very con artist kind of vibe to me. Not saying the person is literally a con artist. It's just that's the vibration that they're operating in. Like they're very two-faced. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the whole lesson that I feel my cross watcher needs to learn from this is listening to yourself, because this whole thing speaks to me of self-betrayal. And it's like how all of this rounded about like gives you the lesson of this is what happens when you betray yourself. Because I cannot deny, because it's very clear that on some level or another, even if a person doesn't want to consciously admit it to themselves, that you knew something was amiss here. You know what I mean? There's lots of things that you wanted to say that you didn't. It was a lot of things like in your spirit that felt unrest, that felt off kilter. You know what I mean? That didn't feel right to you. And it's this thought of denying yourself when you know better. You know what I mean? And with this person, it's like 3 of Swords, that's melancholy energy. Like this person is very much, they're not happy with themselves. And it's like, that sounds very like light, but I mean, it's a lot deeper than that. They really not happy with themselves. They're very off kilter. They very much lack impulse control and they're fake. You know what I'm saying? Hence the two-facedness. You know what I'm saying? So it's like with this person, like how my granny always says, like hurt people hurt people. This is what this is a case of. However, I feel that my cross watchers had this inclination of this, but you ignored it, right? So if we were to speak to what this lesson would be, the lesson would be that when you feel unrest, when you feel something like this, when something inside of you is telling you like something isn't right here, you know what I'm saying? It's listen to yourself. Because it's with this 2 of Swords, it's saying to me that there is a heart-mind disconnect. And saying this from like your logic, your experience, what you know from your own wisdom in life, your heart space being your connection to spirit. It's like your heart is where spirit speaks. And if something deep inside of your soul is saying something is not right here and you're not listening, it's like the byproduct of that ends up being this star in reverse. But I literally cannot deny, dude, that back here in September, you know, you guys knew that, but you didn't want to walk away for whatever reason. And I feel it's an incongruent still, because it's like in your conscious mind, you're saying, oh, I love this person and I want to fight for this. I don't want to just give up on them. But in a subconscious sense, it's like, and not your literal subconscious, but just saying this like metaphorically, but it's like in a subconscious sense, it's like, I don't want to start all over. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to go out and, you know, date all over again and meet someone else and have to go through that whole process. But it's like the deliverance when it comes to spiritual lessons is when you are aware that that's the real reason why you don't want to leave someone alone that you know isn't good for you, and you actually following that the first time. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise, a theme I've seen in all of these readings is just like how I said your own inner conflict can start to bleed into other facets of your life. Having an energetic connection with a person who's self-loathing and melancholy and doesn't feel good enough and feels like they have to fake the funk and put on a mask in order to get people to accept them, that's going to start to bleed onto you too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for this person, I see them going forward. It's like they're kind of in a solitary place. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like taking things and running. And it's like, I do feel like there's work that my cross watchers are going to have to do going forward. But it's like for good reason, because this, what is that other colloquialism? This bent you, but it didn't break you. And this is a very valuable lesson to learn, to trust yourself, self-honesty, all of that good stuff. But even though at present you may feel as if all hope is lost, it's not, because with this 3 of Cups going forward, it's like you have the potential to rebuild your life. But another thing I would tell you, if this is a connection that ended, I ain't gonna tell you what to do. I'm just gonna tell you my professional opinion. But for however long this went on, I would say for my cross watcher people, the best place for you to be in right now is single. And I'm not even fronting. It's like you need to focus on your mental health. You need to focus on your spiritual health. You need to focus on your financial health. You need to rest up, self-care, get your body right. You know what I'm saying? Don't be worrying about dating nobody else, because you're in a sense of recovery at present. And if you focus on yourself and make yourself a priority, then whatever it is that you were attempting to get from this partnership, you can have that moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Because my only concern with this is if you guys started dating again, I always look at when you get out of a bad relationship like this, or you've been wounded like this, it's like swimming in the ocean and getting bit by a shark and you're bleeding. And you just so happen to get away from that shark, like you punch it in the nose and that shark swims off and you're trying to swim back to shore, you're still bleeding and other sharks smell blood. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same kind of vibe when you're still wounded and you're getting out of relationships. And then if that's something else you would want to look at, is if you constantly jump in and out of partnerships, like you break up with one person and like not even a couple of weeks or a month later, you're jumping into another one that's borderlining on relationship addiction. And one has to ask themselves, why are you so afraid of being alone? Why do you always have to be in a partnership? You know what I'm saying? So those are all things to think about. Whew, child, this is heavy. I love y'all. I really do, cross watchers. I don't know what your sign is. I don't know if y'all are Sagittarius people. Y'all let me know in the comments. But anywho, my dear, I'm going to go over to Vimeo, my website, Patreon, and YouTube members to do you guys extended, where we're going to look at how your person of interest and probably non-interest, this person, thinks and feels about you. So if you're about that life, follow me over there. If not, I still love your freaking face. You know what I'm saying? And I will see you guys sooner than later, hopefully sooner if you're going to the extended. If you're a member, I already know you're going to be there. Hello, I'll see you in a couple of seconds. Love your face. And I feel that's a lesson that's imperative for everyone to learn. You know what I mean? It's like throughout life, we make so many sacrifices for other people that wouldn't even piss on us if we were on fire. you know? So the most important thing is it's not selfish to choose yourself, because us self-sacrificing and laying out on the cross and giving everything that we have, mind, body, soul, spirit, finances to a person, that doesn't change people. Like, people are always going to be who and how they are. So it's more or less like a thing of like self-respect. Like, the way that you respect yourself is not allowing a person to like pillage you. You need to make yourself your number one priority. That's the most important thing, of like you being a beast mode version of you. You have to fight for you, and you have to do for yourself what you want a romantic partner to do for you. When we talk about attracting what you are, when you attract what you are, you're attracted to mirror reflection of that. If you're willing, and meaning you're carrying this vibration in you, I'm willing to allow a person to cross my boundaries and be in a relationship that's unbalanced, you will draw in a person who is unbalanced that will take full advantage of that, because that would be what you're sending out. Now, we could never know this about ourselves except for us being in connections with people. So I know that this hurts and this sucks, but at the same time, it's through suffering that we grow. Yes, this was painful. No, it wasn't fair, but it's like, now you know better, so you can do better. When a man sweeps you off your feet, you're no longer grounded. So you have to go into it very sober-minded and grounded, and a person has to earn your trust, earn your respect, and earn your love. That's what it is. That's currency. You don't freely give that to people. A person has to prove themselves worthy, because you wouldn't do that with your bank account information. It's like, you're not going to meet someone and be like, oh my gosh, like we had an instant connection. We have chemistry. I've never felt like this before. Like, here's my social security number. Like, you're not going to do that. So if we're talking about stuff that's 3D and tangible, like that's your credit, that's money, but you can always get that back. But it's like your internal emotions are just as important. So why would you so easily give that out to someone that you don't know that you can fully trust, just because you feel emotions? If you could think back to every single relationship that you've been in your life, and you think about every single person that you trusted with your heart, right? Before they ever earned it, and seeing how that worked out, it's like, those are lessons you need to be implementing. Because if you're still going into relationships like that, and you're still ending up in situations like that, that means you're not learning the lesson. And that's the point, That's literally the point. It's like emotions and feelings, oxytocin highs and things of the sort. That's not enough to say that a person deserves you. Because we're all byproducts of our conditioning and our life experience. We all have different levels of mental health. We all have like bad habits and things of the sort. And not everyone has the best intentions. Not everyone does. And an emotional connection isn't enough to say that that's true, because you can't know a person via osmosis. You just can't. As much as I wish you could, you can't. You have to take time to get to know a person. You have to pay attention to their behaviors. Human behavior is always so telling. Like Maya Angelou says, when people show you who they are, believe them. Moving forward, make yourself a priority, because boundaries, that's a byproduct of self-respect, self-love, and self-worth. Just like you value your social security number and your bank accounts. It's like you will value yourself to that same regard. And just like you would not so easily give that to a stranger, you wouldn't so easily give yourself to a stranger either.